Okay. I. Oh wait, no. So my reasons for actually joining the program in the first place are that I want to be a dentist in the future, and I know that people may come in with different neurodiversity. I just want to understand and know about like how I could help and be kind of more inclusive. I have friends with them and I wanted to learn more about them in order to see if I could help them in any way and just be more understanding. The essay writing aspect of it was kind of good. And then I was just also interested in finding out about what SPEDs even were at the start and like delving deeper into it. So my overall experience, the first term, I actually found out what like different neurodiversities were, and then we learnt about specific ones like ADHD, dyslexia. I learnt about the stigma that surrounds them. I don't think I was aware how much stigma there was, and also about the different cultures and how they respond to and deal with people having a SPED. For example, the hyena cure. I think that was like a really shocking thing to find out, and I was not aware that people in different cultures did that. In the second term, the different types of thinking. So mine was logical and musical. And also learning just more about the SPED and going deeper into it, which I thought was, again, really interesting. In this time, I had my conversation with Malik, and I found that so, like, really useful and really interesting, and I got to ask some questions that necessarily I wouldn't be able to ask in just general. This term, about the presentation, I'm a bit apprehensive because I'm not very good at presenting, but my presentation to my family that I did was I felt really proud of that, and I did it quite well, and I helped someone coming out of it. So my conversation with Malik, I found it really, really interesting. So he has ADHD, and like I mentioned before, it was really good to be able to ask questions that I wouldn't be able to ask elsewhere. So I learned about what it's like to have ADHD and how his attitudes changed before diagnosis and after diagnosis, and how other people's attitudes changed when they find out that he has it. The main change he mentioned was that he felt really infantilized, which highlights the stigma around ADHD. He also mentioned that in interviews, he doesn't like to mention it because people actually may use that as a reason to kind of not hire him, which I thought was quite shocking. And it was really interesting to learn about how the stigma is kind of in different areas of his life and how it affects him. So I did my campaign on ADHD. I do have a friend who has ADHD, and again, I interviewed Malik about that. And I presented it to my family. So the outcomes from my campaign, I found out that one of my mum's colleagues has ADHD, and she mentioned how it was actually really interesting to learn about it because she didn't know much and he doesn't really talk about it. So she said that she was gonna ask him about it and see if there's anything that can be done to support him, and I thought that was a really positive outcome. So the main points that I've taken from this process are, first and foremost, SPEDs are difficulties and not disabilities. I think it's really important to help people with SPED in a way that's not demeaning or infantilizing them. it was interesting to learn about how they're dealt with very differently all over the world, and interesting to see that there are so many negative stereotypes that can have like really detrimental effects on people, and also that more awareness needs to be spread, because I didn't know that much before coming into this process. So I think it would be really good to just spread the awareness and kind of be able to help more people. Yeah, thank you for listening.
Brilliant. If we can unmute once again and give her a huge round of applause. Brills. Yes, Bhakti, do you have a question?
Do you think your fear of presenting has like slightly been overcome after you've presented here and obviously to your family?
I think probably not overcome completely, but it's kind of just helped me to like better prepare myself and know how to actually try and deal with the nerves and stuff.
Brills. So my question is, you had a really positive outcome in the fact that your mum was reflecting around her work and in terms of her colleague that she works with and how best to support him. You mentioned that you want to go into the profession of dentistry, and you've mentioned how this would help you support patients who may come in for their teeth check, who may be neurodiverse. Let's say you have fellow staff members who are neurodiverse that you work with in your future profession. How has this program helped you to change how you will support a fellow neurodiverse colleague in your future workplace?
Well, initially it's kind of actually made me more aware, so I might know some things, some kinds of what's the word? I can't think of the word. What they do. I can't think of the word. But yeah, it might, and it will help me to kind of, because possibly before infantilizing may have like happened subconsciously, so now it will make me a lot more aware of it, so that I know that I'm definitely not kind of speaking to anyone in a demeaning way and making them feel any less, and just knowing that people can sometimes deal with themselves, or they might need help, and just basically I'd let them know that if there was any help that they needed, then that support would be given, and they just need to like not be afraid to say anything, because the way people are going to act is not going to change, and then like they don't have to worry about that.
Brilliant. Thank you very much. So once again, another round of applause for Tiana. Brilliant.